Any tips for beginners on accessing past lives? This is a great question, and thank you. A lot of us empaths and light workers have been cut off from our magic for several different reasons. This can be religious, societal, cultural programming. It can be us hearing that we need to be more logical and analytical because we're very hypersensitive persons, and so we hear that a lot throughout life. Or that magic's not real or evil, so sometimes we have these fears of persecution running in our subconscious, or a witch wound from a previous life where maybe you were persecuted for utilizing your magical spiritual abilities. And so the first thing is we need to create safety with our inner children and our teens surrounding magic and our imagination. Your imagination is like a muscle. The more that you use it, the stronger it gets and the more that you are able to perceive. And understanding that everything internally is the actual reality. Everything outside is a 3D hologram, which shifts based on your beliefs and your vibration and your frequency and what you think is capable for you as creator and source inside of yourself. That's why it's really important to work on our self-concept while we are amplifying our spiritual and psychic abilities. So one of the things that really helped me open up my imagination and prep me, oh, did y'all see that? And prep me to start accessing different frequencies and dimensional spaces is to do children's meditations, but with my inner children. Going to Unicorn Land and Dragon Land and Fairyland in a galactic pirate adventure. And what that did was it helped my inner children feel safe to be happy, to experience joy and whimsy. And so when I started to get into these higher etheric realms, it was like a hop, skip, and a jump over there. We had already experienced a lot of those things in a safe, imaginative land because a guided meditation that somebody else is doing is more grounded in 3D reality. Once your inner kids kind of get used to those more fantastical beings, if you will, then there's less fear that you're going to meet something in the etherical realm that might scare you. They're coming from the sense of like, oh no, we love being in our imagination. We love meeting mystical, magical creatures. Even though those guided meditations for fairies, dragons, elves, all the wonderful beings are not exactly representors of the frequencies and dimensions that you can tap into, they're very closely related. So when you do start experiencing things out there in the cosmos, okay, with the internal astral projections that one can do, it's like, oh, okay, this is like a cousin to that. Okay, so there's a lot less fear going into it. Your inner children and teens start to see how silly the programming is that they have received from their parents or, caretakers, from society, from religious or cultural things. They're like, oh no, this is just joy and happiness and magic. Like, this is super fun. It's not scary and it's not evil. And then when I'm working with people and their Akashic records and their past lives are coming up, most of the time it's because you are meant to help them heal from their incarnations, from their different timelines, or they are coming through to help you heal or help mentor you. Because technically, every single being on the planet, whether that is a human being, a galactic being out in the cosmos, plants, animals, trees, they're all your past lives, okay? Which they're not happening in the past. They're all concurrently happening at one time, okay? That's how I'm able to go in and speak with people's inner children or past lives currently. Okay, it's not a memory, like I'm talking to them in real time. The reason that you have these different timelines coming forward for them to help you or you to help them is because there is a collective of timelines that are relevant to your now incarnation. So there's source, there's all these different types of existences, plants, animals, humans, galactic beings. Here's you over here, okay? There's a whole group of incarnations that are close to your soul because they are in resonance with the things that you're trying to learn in this incarnation, or karmic lessons that you're trying to clear out, or vows, or higher states of consciousness that you're trying to access, or getting really good with your finances, or relationship with your family members or your kids, or maybe you want to travel to certain places or have an impact here in the collective consciousness shift. Those different timelines that are closer to your soul are meant to come here and help guide you, and vice versa, for you, for them in their timelines. So that is to say, if you can get really specific about what it is that you want support with, it's going to be a lot easier to connect with them. Let's take your finances or spiritual gifts. If we're going in and saying, oh, I just want to make more money, or I want to be tapped into my gifts, like, that's great, I love that. But why? What are the current obstacles that you are facing in those areas? What is the end result that you would like to see? What are we going to do once we receive those things? We're having very pointed perceptual awareness and what we're placing our energy and intention on, and it's going to be a lot more easy to hear guidance and insight and wisdom. A great way to do this is go on Google and find some journal prompts, okay? And you can literally ask your past lives, or your inner children, or your teens, all these different facets of yourself, or your higher self, these questions, and receive an answer back. And last piece of advice, anytime that you can envision an energy as a being, especially because these different timelines are beings, they're not necessarily human beings. A lot of times you can come through as an animal, or a extraterrestrial, a galactic being, but when you can envision what they look like, it's a lot easier to connect with them. So you can ask them, hey, can you present to me in a human form that I can see, hear, and understand? You can even make up what they look like. Okay, if you want to. It's not going to offend them. And in doing that, you might start to get the actual imagery of what they look like. The other day, I went into somebody's Akashic records, and a different timeline came forward, and she originally looked like a human being, okay, or a human-esque. And then as we got to talking more, she said, can I show you my true form? I said, yes, I would love that. And then she turned into this giant galactic tree being, not one from Earth, different energetic signature. but I was like, oh, you're so beautiful. So sometimes you need to start on that human level first, because that is helping our subconscious mind understand these energies that sometimes don't have the same form that we do. And I would love to hear in the comments if this is going to help you on your journey. And if you have any more questions, I would love to hear them in the comments.